For 20 plus years, I was involved in a program involving the recovery of crashed UFOs and debris thereof. The cases that I was involved in had bodies with them, and some of the entities were still alive, which was necessary to treat them, which is why there's the catalog that deals with the various species. The catalog exists because rendering first aid to our visitors is quite unique and different from what we would consider first aid, and what types of food that they could be fed. Actually, we use synthesized food. We did not give them the food that we normally eat and take for granted every day. It could actually be poisonous to them. First aid, the way we give first aid, could actually cause their death. So we had to know how to administer specifically the things that was needed to preserve their life, if at all possible. And if you're not very careful when you go to a crash site, you run into the possibility of having casualties, because you have to be very careful with the equipment that they have on board the craft. The other thing is, when one of their craft go down, there is an emergency distress call that goes out to their people, and immediately they try to recover them. And on more than one occasion, the military and their people have gotten there at the same time. The best thing to do when that happens is for us to back off, because they are going to do everything they can to protect their people and recover the bodies and recover any of the injured or those that are still alive. They're not going to try to take overt hostile acts towards us. Many of the species on an individual basis would permit themselves to be killed before they would have any of us hurt. Not all the species are that way, but many are. The self-preservation that we have isn't the same with them. That doesn't mean they want to die. Doesn't mean that they don't feel fear just like we do. It shouldn't be that way with us. It should be that they know that we want to help them, but then again, the greed of man comes into play. What they have, we want. And if it means going through interrogation, things of this sort, and doing unethical things, because there aren't any laws that protect them. Your pet retriever has more rights than any ET has. Knowing that, that is one of the reasons we're in quarantine. If we were to become interplanetary travelers, meaning visiting other solar systems, and we go to a place that's got life very similar to the life here on Earth, we could do anything we wanted to there in the interest of furthering our scientific knowledge, and not even think about the moral issues of what we're doing to the life on that planet. The only thought we would have is the precautions we needed to take to ensure when we left that planet, we did not come back here and infect our planet with a very deadly disease. That's been in place since actually before the crash here in Roswell. I have been face to face with visitors from other planets. Most often we don't go ahead and think of them being anything like us to where they have families. We think of them as being genetically created, that there's no longer that bonding between the female and the male of the species. Well, there is love there. They work towards the common good of their society. Unlike us, where a lot of times we are pulling at one another. We really need to get to the point where we start to become more spiritual in our involvement with one another. We have to care what happens to one another. Now, I'm not talking religion here. I'm talking about what's in every person. And if we get to the point where we really want to go ahead and be concerned about the other person, this world's going to be a much, much better world to live in. Until that happens, we are a world in quarantine. We will be able to explore our own little solar system, but we won't be able to go out and explore the cosmos.